Steven,
Derek,
do you know what number podcast this is for us?
100.
Correct. How
Yeah,
about that?
I keep tabs on it.
Oh, good for you.
I'm just kidding. I was just a total guess. I had no clue. 100, huh?
It's been 100. If you don't include the interviews we do on this thing, we done 100 of these things.
Wow.
I know, and no one still listens. Big waste of time.
Well, you know what? Whatever. Therapy every week. Get your thoughts
Exactly.
off.
It's all for Ernie.
Yes, that's exactly that's right. This is like the just your opinion Ernie podcast.
Pretty much, we do it all for Ernie Chavez.
Just our opinion Ernie. That's really all it's
There you
for.
go. Welcome everybody to just your pregame show, man, for Super Wildcard Weekend. Do you like the super attached to it, Steven?
I was going to ask you that. Actually, that was going to be my first question. Considering we have two, like, what string quarterback are the Ravens playing? I don't even know what string.
It sounds like Tyler Huntley's going to give it a go, but it
Oh.
could be Anthony Brown.
Did I see Snoop Huntley somewhere?
Isn't Snoop Huntley? No, wait. Oh, they calling him Snoop Huntley now?
I was confused because I saw Snoop Huntley somewhere and I didn't dive into it.
There's a
but
Snoop Connor for the
Snoop,
Jaguars.
I'm not talking Scoop Jackson.
Scoop, there it is.
Yeah, Snoop Huntley is Tyler Huntley.
They call him Snoop, huh?
His
Snoop-a-loop.
His Twitter handle is @Snoop1, and then wait, am I wrong on this?
Did he tweet out an injury update on Lamar Jackson too?
Like you mean Lamar did?
That's a weird deal.
Yeah.
Not so much what he tweeted. Well, kind of. So he tweeted out that he's not going to play in the game.
It is Snoop Huntley, yes, by the way. And he says his Instagram handle is the only Snoop. It's like, well, there's Snoopy, Snoop Dogg,
Snoop D-O-double-G.
There's a lot of Snoops. I mean, I guess there's no Snoops out there that just call themselves Snoop, but I don't know. Snoop-a-loop. Anyway.
Snoop-a-loop.
Yeah. Weird tweet.
Well, Lamar Jackson.
Super Wildcard Weekend.
Yeah, Super Wildcard Weekend. Although when you add more games, you add more third string quarterbacks.
Right.
As Skylar Thompson will be playing tomorrow for the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah.
And then you got Snoop Huntley. I'm just calling him Snoop from now on. Snoop filling in for Lamar Jackson. That's as far as backup quarterback. Well, Brock Purdy, obviously, but that's a different deal. Real quick, just to get to the Lamar Jackson thing. Do you think that he's not playing because of any contract thing? Because I think that's a stretch. But the fact that Sammy Watkins, who just got there, is calling him out, saying if he already had a big time contract, he would be playing, is kind of alarming to me. And then John Harbaugh during the week is like, yeah, I don't know what the deal is.
Yeah, he was kind of just like, he didn't really know what was happening. That is an interesting. I haven't really thought too deep into it, because like by the time I heard he wasn't playing, I'd kind of just stopped paying attention to whatever's going to happen with Ravens and Bengals. Like the only thing I'm interested in is what type of revenge Jamar Chase is going to get, because the last game, I think, even though the Ravens were down, Roquan Smith bumped into him when they were celebrating like a pass block in the end zone. And he said, I'm going to get him for that. But I had no clue. Whoa, we got another watcher here. Look at this. We put out the bat signal, Derek, and we got someone else commenting. No shot that's the case. I didn't even look too deep into it, to be honest.
I don't think it's a thing, but that definitely has been floated out there, and I'm like, I'll wait. I'll wait till that's a thing in the off season. But we're playing games now, Steven. We're playing big old stinky wildcard games this week.
Yeah.
We'll get to what's going on with the Raiders a little bit. I want to get your opinion before we dive into these playoffs.
I got a question for you before we do anything. Before we do any football.
By all means.
Been having this debate with Jesse for a little while.
Okay.
And it feels like we've only talked sports and haven't talked much movies lately. And I got a question. If a movie is one of the best in their specific genre, right?
Correct.
Their specific format. Yeah. Does that make it one of the greatest movies of all time? Automatically?
Depends.
Automatically?
Give me an example.
Pirates of the Caribbean and The Curse of the Black Pearl.
In what genre would you say that is?
Fantasy.
Adventure?
fantasy and adventure. So that, ergo, one of the greatest movies of all time.
So what I'm going to surmise is that you two were watching this on Disney Plus, and she said it's a good movie, and you said it's one of the greatest movies of all time, and she was like, I don't know about that.
No, so she watched an Instagram video with the Pirates of the Caribbean theme song, the main theme song.
This is the tale of Captain Jack Sparrow.
What? Yeah. She played
Actually,
that.
funny about that song, the tune of it is still with the theme of the movie.
100%. Yeah. But I said, oh, we should watch that soon. I haven't seen that in a while. It's one of the greatest movies of all time.
I feel like you say that though about everything. Like if she was like, "Yeah, we should watch Marley and Me sometime," you'd be like, "Yeah, it's one of the greatest movies of all time."
I mean, if you're looking for one of the, in terms of the sad genre, yeah, probably right up there.
As far as movies with sad movies about little dogs, then yes, it's one of the greatest movies of all time.
It's right up there. So's Air Bud in that case. Although that's not really. I mean, that's not really sad. I guess it's more just.
Well, he's got to pick between his new owner and the clown. Oh, sad moment.
It is a sad moment. Something I really couldn't take when I was younger. But anyway, Super Wildcard Weekend.
Well, to answer your question, yeah, Pirates of the Caribbean is a fantastic movie. Perfect movie, I would say, even.
Yeah. She didn't like that. She's like, greatest movie of all time? Have you watched Shawshank? Have you watched Schindler's List? And I'm like, have you? And she's like, yes.
It's not really a fun time.
It's not.
Citizen Kane?
Yeah. Come on. Rosebud, you kidding me?
A little overrated. Well, actually, I you know what we haven't done in a while? Pop culture catch up. Before we get to Wildcard Weekend and everything, just a quick one.
Wow. Sorry, Bay Area baller. It looks like you're preparing here for the Niner game with that Fred Warner jersey on, and rightfully so. You should be excited. It's going to be geez, I'm out here in Campbell right now. You know, down in the South Bay. It's been
whew. I was just about to ask you about the weather, but real quick. I watched the movie Amsterdam. On HBO Max.
Yeah.
Just a mess of a movie.
I kind of enjoyed it.
It was just a lot of cameos.
There was a
Taylor
lot of
Swift shows up for 5 minutes, and then spoiler alert, she gets run over by a car. What the hell's going on here?
Hey man, if you want to watch Taylor Swift get run over by a car, this is the movie for you.
I guess you could, but also like Mike Myers.
It's me. Up. Hi, I'm the problem. Oh my god.
Yeah,
I got hit by a car. Anyway,
that's basically the movie.
Yeah, better Mike movie, Myers in it too.
Mike Myers for like 5 minutes. Robert De Niro for like the last half of it.
Oh yeah.
It's just all over the place.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was good.
Not the plot wasn't really that interesting to me.
It's not something I'm going to watch again. I'll say that. You know what I would watch again over and over? Pirates of the Caribbean and The Curse of the Black Pearl.
It's one of the greatest movies of all time.
And I have to make sure to add that at the end, Curse of the Black Pearl. Because if you say anything else, if you just say Pirates of the Caribbean, then they may think you're talking about the second, the third, or the fourth one. No, we're not talking At World's End. We're not talking about the one with 5,000 souls. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the first one.
Yeah. No, I hear you. The rest of them are kind of weird.
That Davy Jones impression was solid. I just brought that out of the back pocket.
It wasn't bad, but you should snarl a little more when you do it.
Yeah.
Good movie I saw, though, was The Menu. Heard about this one?
Yeah, we watched that, too.
What'd you think of that?
I didn't get the significance of it. I think I need to watch it again. It feels like one of those movies that's very thematic, very symbolic, you know?
Yes, it is. When you figure that out, get back to me and we'll talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Ralph Fiennes is just this chef that just is really.
It's a social commentary on elitist foodies.
Yes. And there's each kind, and there's some who think they're elitist foodies, but they're really not. They're just there to be there.
Exactly. And I, for one, can't stand those people because at the end of the day, it's just food. Put it in your mouth and shut up. All right. Let's get to football. Yeah. So a big factor in today's Niners-Seahawks playoff game is the weather. So, Steven, you're in Campbell. I'm coming down actually to see you and a couple of our friends at old San Jose, and we're going to be watching the rookies. But it's quite the bitch when it comes to weather right now. I've seen some videos from Matt Mayoko, Steve Weish, who's there from NFL Network, John Lund. Everyone's saying it is pouring, and it's dried up a little bit near me in Oakland. But I throw it to you, Mr. Meteorologist Steven. How's it looking out there in Campbell?
It's raining. It's raining hard.
It's gonna rain.
It's gonna rain. No, it's no, there's not much wind right now. And it was something interesting. I was listening to Holmgren talking about this, Mike Holmgren, and he was saying like the problem's not the rain. Like the rain you could deal with. You just gotta you just gotta
listening to our Tolbert and Copes interview.
No, he was also on the other station, 95.7. Yeah. He was on our Odyssey sister station, Derek.
Damn it, Mike.
Yeah. But and you are correct. Bay Area baller. Yeah, you did. Yeah.
I saw it too. I saw your cat tugging on your Giants towel.
She was going nuts, dude. I don't get it. When like they told us when we got the cat, they told us on a scale of 1 to 10, she was at a 6 to 7 range in terms of energy. But this cat's at a 13, man. Shout out Brock Purdy. Anyway, the rain is coming down, but Holmgren is saying like he doesn't think the rain is the real factor. Like you can play in the rain. You just got to hold on to the football. But really, if the wind comes into play, that's where things can get dicey. And that's where, you wonder if the wind, let's just say it doesn't start at the beginning of the football game. Let's just say it's just raining at the beginning of the football game. And then midway through, you're in a situation where, I don't know, what if the 49ers are down like a couple of scores or something, and you kind of are in a situation where you got to pass the ball. I wonder if that's going to be a factor today. But right now, it looks like the rain is coming down vertically. There's no horizontal rain. There's no diagonal rain. So it's looking okay right now. But we'll see.
Hard rain?
It is, actually, by the looks of it.
Okay.
Yeah. Phoebe, get down. That's a candle. Get down.
Gonna have to return that cat. They misled you with the eagerness.
100%.
Yeah. We will go through every game of Wildcard Weekend, and I'll give you a key factor, I believe, in the matchup. We'll revisit this Niners-Seahawks game. But real quick, just some tidbits, some NFL news before we get to all of the Wildcard games. Sean McVay keeps teasing everybody with if he's going to come back or not. He's the Brett Favre of coaching now. And I don't want this to be a thing every year where it's, am I going to coach or I'm going to go TV? I don't know if I want to do a rebuild. All for naught. He's coming back. And everyone's talking about the Rams having to do a rebuild. I'm not so sure about that because they still have a lot of good talent on that team. They just need to get a offensive line to block for Matthew Stafford. But, I don't know if I'm digging this whole Sean McVay, will he, won't he every year.
Yeah, unless they start trading their star players in the middle of the season, they're not going to be a rebuild.
The rumor is, I guess Jalen Ramsey tweeted out something yesterday saying if this has been it, then it's been a good ride.
Well, if they end up trading these guys, then then it's a start of a rebuild. Then I'll start to believe it. But right now, I'm not going to believe they're in a rebuild. Hell no.
Yeah, I mean, I could see them trading Jalen Ramsey just because it's the cornerback position. You could always find, younger talent there, and he makes a lot of money. And also, to be quite frank, he hasn't been the same player. T. Higgins got him in the Super Bowl. Jamar Chase almost got him in the Super Bowl. If that last play of the game, Aaron Donald doesn't mess things up, he's wide open for a touchdown. So that could happen as well. DeAndre Hopkins also sounds like he's going to be moving on from the Arizona Cardinals. Will be traded this offseason. So we'll see where. I agree with that. Anybody that watched that Hard Knocks looked like he was visibly frustrated and audibly frustrated by Kyler Murray.
We don't talk about him enough. Having has there been a better wide receiver in the league who's had the slew of bad quarterbacks that he's had in the past, or maybe unfortunate quarterback situations that he's had in the past? Because he had Deshaun Watson, right? But then he was gone. And before that, though, it was Tom Savage and TJ Yates. And, I think he caught Matt Schaub. I think his rookie season, he had Matt Schaub or something.
Yeah, he did.
But this year, he's been playing with Colt McCoy and David Blau, and he didn't even play with David Blau. He basically said, "No, I'm not going to play with David Blau when he's on the field." So I don't know, man. Is there what he's the caliber, the tier of wide receiver? He's always in that top tier, but he's never had a good quarterback
in the history of the NFL.
Maybe not in the history of the NFL. Maybe in this generation.
Well, I was going to say Tim Brown. Tim Brown made a Hall of Fame career out of catching passes from Jay Schrader,
Right.
Wade Wilson.
Well, he at least had Rich Gannon for a little bit of time, though.
He had Rich Gannon from 99 to 02.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like a quarterback for
Well, then DeAndre Hopkins had Deshaun Watson for a little bit of time.
he had him for like 2 years, right?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's
Or
like
a year-
it's a small amount of time that you
Or
had a good quarterback.
a
But the
year and a
majority
half-
of your career, you didn't have one.
or a year and a half. I don't know, but this generation for sure. Like I think in this generation, there's no other star wide receiver. I mean, I don't know. Would Odell Beckham be there because of the Giants? Eli Manning.
Eli. I can make the argument Eli should be in the Hall of Fame.
Oof, that's going to be a fun discussion when that time's up. How many years until he's got to retire?
2 Super Bowls, man. Like if you look at it, like
Yeah, I know.
he's
Anyway.
probably this generation's Jim Plunkett.
Yeah. We don't want to get too off track here.
No, let's stay on track here.
My bad.
The bigger news as far as trades is that Derek Carr finally put pen to paper or fingers to tweets, I should say, and released a statement saying his goodbyes to the Raiders. I read the statement last episode with Alon and got our quick thoughts. Steven, what are your thoughts on Derek Carr's statement to Raider Nation as he bids adieu?
Well, it's mostly him just giving a thank you to everybody, so rightfully so, and he's always been a classy individual. The only thing that I'll say that I kind of looked at it and I said, is when he said, I was going to retire a Raider, but this is not how I envisioned it. So you mean you were going to retire a Raider just as long as you made the $40 million for the next 2 seasons with that option in the contract?
That's not exactly what he's saying. He's saying if it was a nice send-off.
Well, I don't know.
But also, I don't know if I'm buying that whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think what he envisioned was probably at least winning a Super Bowl at some point. But I mean, it's slowly but surely starting to kind of just fizzle out, and I think Raider fans are kind of coming to what's the word that I'm looking for?
Ahead.
No, they're just accepting that it's what's happening now instead of what happened 3 weeks ago or whatever, when they really couldn't accept the fact that he was going to be sitting until Jarrett Stidham kind of changed their mind. But no, I did.
Let me ask you something. And we don't need to go full in depth on last week's game. Jarrett Stidham I mean, he looked great against the Niners, but not so great to me against the Chiefs. Does that pretty much reassure everything? I mean, you were in agreement with me after the Niner game that he is the backup, not anywhere close to being the guy going forward for them.
Yeah, like I don't. Why did anyone call this the Jarrett Stidham experiment? I don't think McDaniels ever had a plan to start Stidham next year. Maybe give him a new contract, but he never. The cat's on the table. He never had that opportunity.
The cat's on the table in the silver spoon.
Like if he were a starter, he would have had a starting job over Mac Jones, probably. So you can't get a starting job over Mac Jones. How do you think you're going to get a starting job over any quarterback that has an opportunity? Although I saw the report that Mac Jones is there too, the option for him, just because of how.
No, stop it. He just got drafted.
Well, I don't know, because of how people are reading between the lines here of what's going on in New England.
Also, why is everybody shitting on Mac Jones?
Because they're not on Mac Jones. There's more so.
He had a fine rookie season, got the Patriots to the playoffs. He got injured this season.
They're not on Mac Jones, but they're more so saying Mac clearly has an issue with the Patriots now.
Well, he should, because his offensive coordinator was Matt Patricia.
Yeah.
So get a better offensive coordinator. I could see them. I mean, I don't know if Belichick's going to hire Cliff Kingsbury, but I could see Bill O'Brien going back there. If they just upgrade the offensive coordinator position, then I think Mac Jones will be fine.
Maybe. But look, man, I think that in the end, it's time to move on from Carr. And, I think he's going to have success, dude. But I can't stress enough that the national media that talks about him, and it's kind of frustrating when I see it nationally, there's more to it than just he's a good quarterback that played with a bad defense. Yeah, that's part of it, but there's a lot more that goes into his 9-year career than
it was
just
9
that.
years. That's sorry. I'm making
yeah. No, that's fine. Go.
No, it was 9 seasons, and I think that's more than enough time to figure out everything with Derek Carr. Like I said before, I have no issues with them moving on from him, and it makes sense with the contract and everything financially. But I just didn't like the way that fashion that they did it. Matthew Stafford wasn't benched the last 2 games of the season to make a trade in the offseason. I understand everything. I just don't like the way they went about it. But it is what it is. They'll move on. Derek will move on, and everyone will be better off.
Yeah.
This isn't like every year the Niners talking about moving on from Jimmy Garoppolo. Derek Carr had 9 seasons to get something done. He brought him. He didn't start the playoff game in 2016, but he got the Raiders to 2 playoff appearances. He went through a lot of bullshit, but in the end, it's just time to move on. And I don't think that Derek's time with the Raiders will be looked at as a failure. If you're looking at, did he win a Super Bowl? No, of course not. But Rich Gannon didn't win a Super Bowl. I think you got to look at it as the Raiders organization was terrible before Derek Carr. It had mild success with him, and I think that should be applauded for what was the case before him with how many quarterbacks, the Jamarcus Russell situation, everything like with that. They finally landed on a guy that was at least stable at the quarterback position for 9 seasons.
Right. And I think like how many quarterbacks too would get a third contract like fully if they did not even start in a playoff game. And again, that's not his fault entirely, but like how many quarterbacks get that much leeway? Normally how it goes is you give them the rookie deal, and then if they shine in that rookie deal, then you give them another deal, maybe another 4 or 5 year deal, whatever it is. And then in his case, I believe it was a 4-year deal. I believe it was 4. Maybe it wasn't 5.
You talking about the first contract or second one?
Second one. I think it was, because he was a second rounder, so it wasn't a 3-year deal to start his rookie deal. Anyway.
Yeah.
So how many quarterbacks get a third contract after that? Not many. And for me, like, also looking at the defense this year, they were an issue. They were an issue, but at the same time, they didn't do so much to lose them every single game. Like, I think they gave Carr and the offense an opportunity to get back in it, and they just weren't playing complementary football. And I don't know, like, that's something we're going to talk about heavily today is complementary football. That's the reason why a lot of these playoff teams are there right now, is because they stack up wins playing complementary football. Defense plays poorly, offense comes out, gets a score. Offense plays poorly, defense gets a stop. You know what I mean? Like, it feels like the defense, they give up maybe like a touchdown or something. Then the offense would give up a 3 and out. And then 2 minutes later, they got to go back onto the field and try to get another stop again. It's just bad all around. So yeah, time to move on.
And a common theme you'll see with a lot of the AFC playoff quarterbacks are that they are first round young quarterbacks. You know who's the oldest quarterback amongst the group in the AFC?
The oldest?
Yep.
Starting?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Russ?
No. AFC playoff quarterbacks.
Oh, playoff quarterbacks. Hang on. I mean, there's not many to choose from.
Exactly.
Is it Josh Allen?
Nope. It is Patrick Mahomes at 27.
Oh, yeah. I almost was gonna go Joe Burrow.
I think Joe Burrow was just drafted, man.
Yeah, but Joe Burrow was still like older than Lamar Jackson, even though he was playing in college.
Starting. The bigger thing though is just that the fact that every quarterback in the AFC,
we could always argue about anything,
is that they're young first round draft picks. And whatever the Raiders decide to do a quarterback, like that would, totally flip things if they go for 46-year-old Tom Brady. But I think they just want to start fresh, and they realize that in the AFC with Derek Carr, while he is a good quarterback, he's not a great quarterback in order to compete with the Patrick Mahomes, the Josh Allens, the Joe Burrows.
Trevor Lawrence is on the come up.
Trevor Lawrence, Justin Herbert. You're going to have to get a guy that's at their level, and I don't think Derek Carr is anywhere close to any of these quarterbacks, unfortunately.
Yeah, I agree.
But I propose to you to this, sir.
Yeah.
I brought this up with Alon last podcast.
Did you?
I believe that the Houston Texans not getting the first overall pick and the Chicago Bears getting the first overall pick somewhat hurt the Raiders as far as trying to get a trade done before that February 15th deadline. Simply because you have a lot of quarterback needy teams that are in the top 15 of that draft. So if you have a deadline for the 15th, why would you rush when you can figure out what you want to do in the draft and you possibly make a deal with the Chicago Bears, and then everything kind of trickles after that. You figure out where you want to land. I mean, there's some, I don't know how I feel about this quarterback draft class, and there's plenty of time to talk about that. But if you are like, I think the Colts are totally out on Derek Carr right now because they have a chance to possibly get that first overall pick.
It's also been
reported.
It's been reported too. Like
the
I forgot what his name was, but
a Colts writer, yeah,
the
saw
Colts
yesterday
guy, yeah. So they're out.
So are you in agreement with me though that a little bit that hurt them as far as trying to execute a trade in that amount of time?
100%. Oh yeah, but maybe the second round will have to be it instead of like a first rounder. I don't know.
Well, no, but that's the thing. It's just that I don't think Derek Carr is going for a first round pick.
No.
I think that it's just a matter of if a team needs a quarterback, do you want to rush to go get Derek Carr, or can you weigh your options and then say, well, let's see what's in the draft, blah, 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 whatever. The one scenario I see is that as far as all the teams that need a quarterback in the top 15 of the draft, the team that doesn't have a first round pick altogether are the New Orleans Saints. So this is what I say. I don't know how Dennis Allen feels about Derek Carr. He drafted him initially in 2014, but he only had him for 4 games. And it wasn't him picking him. It was Reggie McKenzie.
Mm-hmm.
But you'd have to believe that Dennis Allen was in some discussions with that and was comfortable. I mean, he chose him over Matt Schaub, if you remember back in 2014. They went 0-10, but that was Derek Carr's rookie season. So it could be that Dennis Allen maybe wants to upgrade the quarterback position. I know that they have Andy Dalton, but he's going to be a free agent. They benched Jameis Winston. I would assume that they want to upgrade it, and Derek Carr's available, and they don't have a first-round pick to get a rookie quarterback. So this is what I would say. If I was the Raiders, I would go to the Saints and say, we'll take a 3rd-round pick, a 5th-round pick, next year's 4th-round pick, and I know you're probably not going to like this. This guy's contract is so bad on your team. We'll take it off of you guys, but we want to renegotiate once he becomes a Raider. We'll take Michael Thomas as well to team up with Devontae Adams in that offense. So for Derek Carr, we want the Saints 2023 3rd-round pick, 5th-round pick, your 2024 4th-round pick, and Michael Thomas if he's willing to renegotiate his contract.
So you're basically saying Carr's value is the same as Antonio Brown's, except you add a 4th and Michael Thomas in there.
Correct, yes.
Well, I'd love the idea if Michael Thomas was not hurt.
That's the thing, is that yes, he's been injury prone the last 3 seasons, but he's still young. And if you pair him up with Devontae Adams, that could be something special. You just got to renegotiate that contract. He just did for 1 season, so it only costs about $1 million. But then after that, it's going to cost you a lot of money.
Where'd you come up with the 3rd and the 5th, and then the 4th in 2024? You're coming up with a next year draft pick.
That's
what are you, the NBA?
That's how things get done these days, man. all the Rams fuck them pick steals have been, we'll get you, the 2053 1st-round pick.
Well, you know what? You know where I'm at with this? If you can get a 1st-rounder, I think the one team that you can, and I think you're going to be able to after today, or no, not today, tomorrow. After tomorrow, I think this quarterback is going to be available. But if you're talking about in the bottom tier, if you're talking from 15 to 20, man, I think I really don't think the Giants are going to be sold on Daniel Jones after today. They have not been good these last 7 weeks.
They're not playing today, Steven.
Tomorrow is what I'm saying. Tomorrow is when the decision is going to be made. But I think they're going to get destroyed by the Vikings. I actually do.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't think the Giants have played good football at all. I think we've forgotten that they got off to such a hot start, and now they have a 9-7 record, or 9-8 or whatever it is.
All right.
9-7-1. Excuse me. And I don't think we're getting a repeat of the tie, because it was with the Vikings, right? Giants and Vikings.
It wasn't a tie. It was a 61-yard field goal that gave the Vikings the win.
Huh. Okay. Right on. Yeah, I personally think Daniel Jones is going to be gone, and I think the Giants will be willing to trade maybe that 23rd pick, which is what I'm seeing here right now. I think they'd be right there. I think you got to maybe bank on, I don't know, the Commanders with the 16th pick. It doesn't seem like they're sold on Carson Wentz. It seems like they're
Yeah, but they
regretting
got
that.
3 quarterbacks on that roster they got to figure out.
And then, and who knows what happens with Baltimore and this whole thing with Lamar Jackson?
Yeah.
So I think you got a couple of options in the back half, but ultimately, like, just try and get a an early second rounder, kind of like where he was drafted. Kind of get a guy early in the second round, or a team that's drafting early in the second round. Just get him to that team, and that's it, and just be done. Like, I don't know how much he's worth. A second rounder is what Jimmy Garoppolo was worth prior to 2017, and the quarterback market changes, but it just depends. I think that teams are going to be desperate, though. Like, I think there are going to be some first round teams out there that are desperate and maybe want to trade that pick, but who knows, man? Who knows? I think the Giants will be right up there, though.
I mean, quarterbacks are a hot commodity in this league, so I know Bay Area Baller 18 is telling me that's too much for Carr, but I don't know if it is. When we saw that Matthew Stafford went for 2 first-round picks and he's in his 30s, I don't know what you could get for Derek Carr at this point. Maybe, second and third round picks are the way to go, but I don't think Derek Carr's going for a first-round pick. I think those days are over, but I would throw in Michael Thomas if he's willing to negotiate and not take on the amount of money that he's making on, because he definitely doesn't deserve that with how little football he's played. I would get Devontae Adams and Michael Thomas and Hunter Renfrow and Darren Waller. That's not bad. Plus the league's leading rusher, Josh Jacobs, and it's crazy that the Raiders went 6-11 and they had 2 All-Pros in Josh Jacobs and Devontae Adams. Actually 3 in Daniel Carlson, who was the best kicker in football.
Yeah, that's where I watched that. I looked at that players all-pro list, and I was thinking to myself, like, the players know way more than I do. They line up against these guys, but how much do they really respect the kickers? Because Daniel Carlson or Justin Tucker, if it's anyone other than them, what are you doing? Like, how are you voting for that? And who votes for the special? Like, they said the position group votes for the specific group that they line up against or they're in. So are all kickers just jealous of Daniel Carlson? Like, what? Daniel Carlson's like the most reliable kicker I've ever seen in my life.
Wait, did he not make the players all-pro team?
No, it was Jason Myers from the Seahawks.
Oh.
And I'm not going to act
he had a bad miss in overtime last week.
I'm not going to act like I've gone back and looked at all overtime. And I'm not going to act like I've gone back and looked at all the crucial field goals that they've had. But I see Daniel Carlson just hitting 57-yarders with ease. And it's like, what are we doing here? But yeah.
Well,
and also, I'm sorry, but Crosby not at least making the second team as an all-pro. I mean, not the first team, fine. Micah Parsons, Nick Bosa, those guys are the best in the league right now. There's no denying that. But Hassan Reddick is Mr. What have you done for me lately, in my opinion, because he's had an unbelievable month of December, and he has 18 sacks.
But, he's had a pretty damn good season, man.
But Max Crosby's, like, overall a better player.
Well, you could do both. Who's on that second team with Hassan Reddick?
Myles Garrett.
Myles Garrett had 16 sacks. It's tough. It really is tough just because, yes, Max Crosby had a fantastic season, but his sack numbers, I think, he had 11?
I think he had 13 or 12, yeah.
That's not as much as Hassan Reddick and Myles Garrett, even though I think he makes more of a effort in the run game than those guys.
And according to Clowney, the Browns are just focused on making Garrett a Hall of Famer and not focusing on it.
What the hell was that about? God, David Clowney. You haven't made friends in your 10 years. He's been there as long as Derek Carr has in the National Football League, and I don't feel like he's made an impact as much as he has. Like, he's a lot of hype in my book.
Yeah. He has been. He gets 1 tackle in college, and then all of a sudden he's drafted number 1 overall.
Oh, well, his South Carolina Gamecock tape was way better than just 1 tackle.
Right.
So show him a little more respect, Steve.
Okay, fine. Whatever.
All right, let's talk about these playoffs. I will give you a key factor in each of these games. Before I do that, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
So we changed the playoff rules when it comes to overtime because of the Chiefs-Bills game from a year ago.
Yep.
So now, if a team goes into overtime, or both teams go into overtime, if a game goes into overtime, you cannot simply just win the game by scoring a touchdown on the opening possession. It becomes sudden death if both teams punt after their first possessions, or if the first team punts. But if you score on your opening possession and then another team or if you score a touchdown on your opening possession of overtime, the other team gets a chance to respond. So my question to you, Steven, is we have a lot of aggressive head coaches that are in the playoffs, mainly with this Jacksonville Jaguars and LA Chargers game. Brandon Staley and Doug Peterson are probably two of the more outside the box thinkers as far as going for it on fourth down and everything, or going for two. If you were the first team to score in overtime, would you think about going for two in order to then force that team to score 8 points to tie you, or even by going up 6, you're still forcing them to score a touchdown?
So here's my question, though, real quick. So I don't know if you said this, but a part of that rule is
it's complicated, convoluted.
When both teams score a touchdown after that, does the next team up, if they score a field goal or kick a field goal, they win?
Yes.
Yeah, I personally would tie it. Like that's such a gamble, you know.
I know it's a gamble, but do you? Because the possibility is you go for two, you don't get it, you're up by 6, and the team just beats you by kicking an extra point.
Yeah,
but I do think there's crazy coaches out there. My argument is that some teams just want the game done with, and you can win the game right then and there. So I can see a lot of teams either one going for it when they score the first touchdown, or if you're the next team and you have to tie the game, then you score the touchdown to end the game, or you go for two to end the game.
But it also depends on like it also depends on how the game is going and the flow of the game.
Yeah, well, of course.
You know, like if a team is kind of, if they're tied in overtime and it just so happens that the team who you know, who has been kind of if the team who's been the worst team of that game, the one who's kind of fell into touchdowns, you know, maybe got some based off of defense, field position, whatever it is, like if that team has been playing not poorly, but if that team is not really scoring touchdowns at will, I'd be like, yeah, you got to kick that field goal and you just got to tie it. You don't want to take that chance, especially if they go down on the first thing, because it all depends on the teams. But there's definitely going to be somebody who goes for it for sure.
Yeah, I think that's why that Jaguars Chargers game is interesting, because both of those coaches are really, really weird and aggressive, and Doug Peterson I think is better with his play calling. Brandon Staley, just throws caution to the wind sometimes. It just goes for it whenever he feels like it. But I think it's gonna be interesting to see how coaches manage that overtime if we get to that point.
Yeah, I didn't really think about that too much. I like the rule. I like the fact that you're putting the ball in the other. It's entertainment, in the end. I like the rule during the regular season. It's just like, okay, team scores a touchdown, whatever. Let's end this thing. Let's get it out of here. But in the playoffs, it's definitely different. For sure, I felt that way both times when it was Chiefs versus Patriots, and Mahomes didn't get a chance to score against the Patriots when Tom Brady went down and scored a touchdown. And I did feel the same way when Josh Allen didn't have a chance last year. I did think, man, they do need to tweak that rule in the postseason. I really like that rule change, actually. So I'm looking forward to that if a game goes to overtime.
Yeah, no, it's fair and balanced now. And real quick before we go to these games, Brandon Staley. Look,
oh boy.
I know he's having a good season. Everything. He got the Chargers at the playoffs, and he's not as crazy and willy-nilly with going forward on fourth down and everything. But I'm having a hard time just believing this guy's crap that he's throwing out there. And if Sean Payton is really in the mix for the Chargers, I think they should not even hesitate and go after him, because what he did last week with playing his guys when there was nothing to go for as far as seeding, playing Justin Herbert, playing Austin Eckler, playing Mike Williams, who fractured his back and now is out until if they make a Super Bowl run. I think it's just ridiculous that he did that. And then during the week, he's like, they're asking him questions about Mike Williams not practicing, and he goes, I don't think it matters if he practices or not. I think that all that matters is he gets enough rest. I think that's important that he gets rest. Really? Could have rested him the week before. He wouldn't have to deal with this shit, Brandon.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of over him, and I think that it would, I don't know what's going to happen as far as the game tonight. I have a prediction, but if Brandon Staley loses the game, I think that they should really consider going to Sean Payton, because I don't think this guy knows what he's doing.
Well, we'll see what happens with Denver, though, right? Like, it seems like Payton's the front runner right now for the Broncos coaching job.
I was Sean Payton, I would want no part of Arizona or Denver. I think he's just taking those interviews.
I'm the same way, but also, like, you don't know if which teams are going to be giving him power or not, Like that's what he wants ultimately is the power to
Yeah.
control everything. And you don't know which ones are going to do that.
But do you really think Sean Payton has the patience to fix Russell Wilson?
I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know.
I think, and I hear you. I think that the only thing that is not feasible in my scenario with Sean Payton going to the Chargers is that Dean Spanos is not a guy that's going to give a coach full control or give a lot of money to a head coach. But it just feels like a perfect scenario for him with Justin Herbert. That would be his, like, you know, all the intangibles that are better than Drew Brees. You have that defense. You bring Vic Fangio along. That should be the spot. But I can also see ownership just totally screwing that up.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. But yeah, it depends on today though. Like it really depends on today. And yeah, it's feels like the football gods are kind of gonna come down on the Chargers here because of what Staley did back in week 3 when the Chargers and Jaguars played. And he kept Herbert out there, and we happened to be at the bar at the same time. And I've never seen anyone more mad at a Chargers Jaguars game, just yelling at the TV when it's fourth quarter and the game's over. Why are you keeping it Herbert? This is stupid, foolish. Why are we doing this?
Was I not right though?
You were absolutely right.
I just don't know what the hell he's doing.
You were like that Saints fan in the bar who was watching.
I was not as bad as that guy. That guy was having a bad day. I was just like, I was baffled by the idea of like, what are you doing to your quarterback? And furthermore, they were down 38-10, and he's throwing go routes. And Jalen Guyton, his third string wide receiver who they could use today, tore his ACL.
Yeah.
He's just not, there's no rhyme or reason to any of his tomfoolery.
Oh man, that's where we're at now. The tomfoolery.
That's how old I am now. You saying tomfoolery, buffoonery. I don't get Brandon Staley's deal.
Yeah, you're not big on him. You don't like him too much.
I just think he's kind of phony.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get to these playoff games. I'm gonna give you one key factor in each of these games.
Okay.
So we got the Seahawks at the Niners, and everyone's talking this week about can the Niners beat the Seahawks for a third time? Is Brock Purdy ready to go? My thing is simply this. On paper, I don't know if the Seahawks are that good of a team as far as a playoff team. Geno Smith had a great season, a good comeback of player of the year season. Kenneth Walker Jr. could be rookie of the year. They're having it was a good surprise year. Pete Carroll could be even coach of the year for what they dealt with trading away Russell Wilson and start kind of like rebuilding and yet making the playoffs. Kudos to them. But I don't know if they're that good as far as talent on the field. So if we're playing this game straight up, the Niners should kick their ass. But the weather is a huge factor. I think Pete Carroll, being an experienced head Super Bowl winning coach, is a key factor. Everyone's talking about this week where he said that quote of, "Oh, we unfortunately have to play the Niners." He's just trying to gas them up. That's what good coaches do. Belichick does it every week by monotony saying like, "Oh yeah, well, the Raiders, they have a fantastic defense." Blah, blah, blah. He's just saying lies. Pete Carroll thinks he's going to win this game. He's going to try everything to do to win this game. I think that Brock Purdy, while it may not be this game, I still don't know about him in the playoffs because everything we're seeing with him in the regular season, he's playing fantastic. But things are going to change in the playoffs. He's not going to get the easy throws. If the Niners get into a game, and I know they have a great offensive line, a great running game, but if for whatever reason, it's happened before. We saw it last year with the NFC Championship game, and we saw in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs. If the Niners get into a situation where the running game is not effective, their quarterback has to make throws, and we'll see if Brock Purdy's capable of that. But I think the major key factor today is going to be the weather. And I know both teams are used to playing in the rain, but we'll just see which one's more comfortable. And also the fact that the Seahawks have really, they were not expecting to be in this game. It could have been very easily that the Packers win that game and they go to the playoffs, but the Lions, kudos to them. I thought they had more talent than the Packers, and they knocked them out. So now the Seahawks are playing with house money, and they're playing to play free and easy. So I think that the weather and just the laid-back approach of the Seahawks is going to be a key factor today.
Yeah, I think, well, to me, number one for the Seahawks getting into the postseason, like if Baker Mayfield doesn't underthrow that deep pass, and Quandre Diggs makes that unbelievable interception, which was
Great pick.
it was awesome that he made the interception, but that ball was still underthrown. I don't know if that would have gotten to the receiver, even if the safety, if Diggs didn't get in the way. But they are getting more healthy. The Seahawks are. The 49ers, though, are pretty much as healthy as they could possibly be. Barring oh gosh, I forgot the other one besides Jimmy Garoppolo. I think Ambry Thomas is the other one that's out or something like that.
Yeah.
But both teams are fully healthy right now. And to me, the number one, you said like if the run game doesn't get going, like then it's going to be up to Purdy. But really, what we've seen these past 10 games is just an onslaught of Christian McCaffrey. And as much as people complain on Twitter about the usage, they're using him too much, they should use Jordan Mason and Ty Davis Price, they might have been right in the moment, but as of now he is fully healthy and they've won 10 straight, and they've been doing it with a dominant run game and Purdy being able to just accurately throw the football. But the key to me today is simply the wide receivers being able to hang on. It feels like whenever they're in these rainy games, like I've seen Brandon Ayuk fumble the ball, I've seen Debo have trouble catching passes sometimes. I think they're going to run the ball with Debo a little more today with this rainy weather too. I don't know how many times. Honestly, he might get 3 targets, maybe 3 or 4. We've seen that from Debo before, where it's just they only give him like 3 or 4, and it seems like Kittle's kind of taken over as the guy. But to me, the key is going to be the receivers hanging on to the football. I think McCaffrey is going to have a McCaffrey type of game. The Seahawks, like Kenneth Walker, is probably going to win Rookie of the Year. But if you go back and look at a lot of his game logs, and I kind of noticed a pattern with it, but a lot of his yardage, they come on explosive plays. It seems like he has one explosive play almost every game where he gets like a at least 60 yard run, whether it's a touchdown or not. And I think that plays a huge factor into what the Niners are going to do. They don't give up a lot of big runs. Like they really don't. So I think the Niners have every advantage possible in this game, and they should win this game. That's why they're heavy favorites. But the weather is absolutely going to play a factor. So really, I'm kind of building on yours, in that sense. It's just saying like, look, it is going to be a factor, but I think the receivers are going to have to hang on to the football and limit the turnovers, which is what they've managed to do. And I'm interested to see what Purdy does. I don't know. He doesn't seem like the pressure gets to him, but like in the end, the dude's human, and he's going into his first postseason game. It's the same thing for Geno Smith, though. Same thing for Geno Smith, although there's a little more pressure being at home and you're the heavy favorites. And it's like, the Seahawks are really playing with nothing to lose. And it looks like Geno is going to be like coming back with the Seahawks next year. They might put the franchise tag on him, according to Ian Rappaport. So
really,
yeah, that's what he said. So, there's a lot of, the Niners should win this game, no doubt. But, anything can happen.
Yeah.
Anything can happen. Any given Saturday, as they say, Derek.
Any given Saturday. Any given super wildcard weekend.
And you know what? Hey, it makes a good point. McLeod, who's been doing, like, field position is going to be important in this game too. Like, and McLeod has been consistently returning the ball. Like, feels like he's been close every single game. So, yeah, man, it's going to be an interesting one. I'm really mad, actually frustrated, mostly at Kyle Shanahan for this.
Miffed?
Yes, because I went to training camp, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was watching McLeod returning punts, and you knew instantly that he was going to be the one to do it. They had him, and they had Danny Gray trying to return punts. Danny Gray wasn't catching anything. Like, he couldn't catch the football. Mm-hmm. So McLeod was returning, but every time he'd catch the ball, it was just practicing catches. It wasn't like they were running or anything. And then I saw him throw, and he'd throw it back. And I was like, damn, he's got an arm. like it was real natural. And then I looked at his Wikipedia, because Wikipedia is actually kind of good for sports information if you want to get to know an athlete a little bit. He was the scout team quarterback when he was with the Bills.
Raymond McLeod?
Yeah. And I
know that.
And I predicted before the season that he was going to have a touchdown pass. Didn't happen. Still hasn't happened. Watch it today. Watch that. That's what I'm putting out today. That's my thing. Watch out for McLeod. Big play. You may think it's a kick return Bay Area ball, or no. It's going to be a touchdown pass, my friend. Watch out. Watch out for him to line up on the left and he's going to run in motion behind the line of scrimmage. And then simply Purdy's going to pitch it to him, run out to the right, toss into the corner. Brandon Ayuk, open, end zone, touchdown. Kyle Shanahan, I should take your job.
He may just be stealing from you, Steven. He may just be stealing from you.
Maybe.
I don't know if he needs to do that today.
Yeah, I know.
Maybe good play if they're on the road in the NFC Championship game against the Eagles.
What if you're up a couple of scores and you got, I don't know, if you're up a few scores and it's the end of the game, maybe they blow them out just like they have with a majority of these teams in the past 10 games. Maybe you just, throw in Josh Johnson in there and just say, we'll give McLeod a chance to throw the football.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely something. If they get into a situation where they're not getting what they need from Brock Purdy as far as throwing the football, they need a spark. So I could definitely see that happening, Steven. And I think Kenneth Walker Jr. is going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year over Brock Purdy.
I mean, he's
That's
the
most
favorite.
ridiculous thing I've seen this week is that Brock Purdy should be Offensive Rookie of the Year. He only played in 5 games. I don't think that constitutes him for winning that award.
And look, man, like, I think the guy's great, but 5 games is not enough. Like, it's just
not enough. Sorry, Schrags, not enough.
It's not. Like,
not enough.
12 more games, bro.
Yeah. The other game tonight.
Well, he kind of played in 6, really. I mean, it's just like,
I mean, I give him the win against the Dolphins. He came in early enough in that game.
Yeah, I do too.
Chargers at the Jags. For this game, it's simply this: the 2 quarterbacks.
Yeah,
the 2 nice-haired quarterbacks. Which one is going to have a better game between Trevor Lawrence and Justin Herbert? I saw this one floated out there, Steven. Whoever loses this game, should they shave their head?
Oh yeah, but the thing is, though, like, I think Herbert voluntarily shaved his head, so he's not going to have.
Oh yeah, is he rocking that haircut or the long hair anymore? I thought it grew back.
Oh, he did.
Yeah,
he did. Okay. But he had that moment where he shaved it, and he looked like a legit like high school 5-star recruit quarterback who's super tall and has acne and stuff.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah,
like the acne like just popped out.
I am quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah,
dude. I like that idea, but I don't think that I don't think that would impact or affect Trevor Lawrence or Justin Herbert as much as it would Trevor Lawrence. But yeah, I'm with you. I'm interested to see how the run game goes for both these teams, though. Austin Eckler being the leading rushing touch. Didn't he lead? I think he led the league in rushing touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. No. Jamal Williams.
Jamal Williams did. That's right.
Don't let those tears fool you, man. It's all dog in this mug.
Hey, man. What did he call himself in that Sunday Night Football intro?
Leaders of the hidden den.
Leaders of the village of the den.
I gotta ask my anime friends what the hell that was. It was just squaz.
First class Quaz-Kage. Leader of the village of the den.
The best was earlier the last week when they asked him, so what do you think about what Aaron Rodgers said with the Lions? I don't care. I just want to go home and play Pokemon.
I don't watch TV.
Yeah. Pokemon? No,
Pokemon.
Not Pokemon. Come on.
I love when he's like whispering, but then all of a sudden the guy says Pokemon. He's like, Pokemon?
Man, those cars must suck if you get in them. Jamal Williams is fantastic.
Yeah,
did you make fun of me for getting him in fantasy?
No, I made fun of you for. Yeah, I did actually. Yeah, I did.
Because I watched him on Hard Knocks, and I was like, he really wants to win this season. But also thought he was going to be the goal line runner because DeAndre Swift's not really a between the tackles kind of guy.
Look, if speaking facts is making fun of you, I'm going to continue to speak facts. And
don't you dare!
You made that pick based on Hard Knocks, and I
did, but it panned out in the KBR league when it didn't pan out in the Tickle My Butthole league.
Yeah.
Some different fantasy leagues for different strokes.
But yeah, I'm with you though. As far as the Chargers and Jags, but also like I think Travis Etienne is healthy for this one.
Yeah.
So, this is going to be an interesting one, man. But it is going to come down to Lawrence and Herbert. It's going to be a shootout, and you're going to see a lot of. I think you're going to see a lot of spectacular throws over the middle of the field. Like that's going to be a fun game later on today. Like today, you're going to get like the classic, I think, cold weather game where both teams are trying to run the football. And to be honest, I think the Niners are going to get such an early lead that eventually the Seahawks are going to have to try and throw, and it's just going to be too late. But the later game, I know we're all saying that the Niners and the Seahawks should be that 5:30 slot, which I do not disagree with. But considering the weather out here today, like I think that game is going to be a lot more entertaining. So, yeah.
I would say as far as the two matchups, I think that Seahawks and Niners has the least sex appeal as far as TV rating. So I understand why they're the first one on the docket. It sucks just because the Niners got the 2 seed and that's what they have to deal with. But I think NBC, a lot of people are saying like Jags, Chargers, the two quarterbacks are making it spicy tonight. That's why I think that's on the primetime slate.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think, by the way, of Hufanga getting the first team All Pro?
I thought he deserved it.
Yeah.
I know he's not fantastic at coverage, but he had a fantastic season. 4 picks, a couple sacks, the pick 6 against Stafford.
Right.
Numbers, I mean, like there are better safeties in the league. Derwin James, Harrison Smith. But I thought he deserved it this year. I'm right behind Minkah Fitzpatrick. I'd say he was probably the second best safety in football this year.
Yeah. I don't know. I had a tough time with that one.
I know he's not the best in coverage. There's been definitely that's the thing. I think in the playoffs, you and I have been talking about it. Diamador
Lenore. Think Commodore Diamador. That's how you remember
Diamador Lenore and Sean Gibson and Talanoa Hufanga may be the Achilles heels for this defense.
Yeah,
even though they're really good.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I've seen like Derwin James just completely lock up pass catchers, and it's just I haven't really seen Hufanga do that too much.
No, they're totally different players.
They are, and it's like I'm not trying to say that Hufanga doesn't deserve to be on an All-Pro team. I just thought first team All-Pro over Derwin James. I thought that was kind of a stretch by the panelists.
He definitely benefited from being on the Niners defense this season. I think I think Nick Bosa had a fantastic season, 8.5 sacks. He'll probably be defensive player of the year based on the fact that the Niners were that dominant of a defense.
And I think like again, it's the anticipation, the speed, the angles at which he makes the tackles, like everything that Hufanga does is like fantastic. But I took a look at that first team All-Pro list, and my instant reaction was, wow, that's kind of, I thought he'd make the second team. I didn't think he'd make the first team. I thought he'd be like the first player on the second team.
Yeah, I was a little surprised too, but I think Derwin James missed 2 games. He got, what was it? He missed a couple games because of injury, and also he got ejected for that hit he had in the Colts game. But I don't think that should be taken away from him. He had a fantastic season too.
Oh my gosh, that hit on the Colts game. I totally forgot about that.
Oh yeah, laying that dude out. Even Dante Whitner was like, damn. The other games, I'm going to mix these two together. Dolphins, Bills, Ravens, Bengals. Simply put, with both of these teams facing backup quarterbacks, it's just, are the Bills going to be extremely focused, and will the Bengals be extremely focused? I don't see how Skylar Thompson can go score for score with Josh Allen, and I don't see how Snoop Huntley could go score for score with Joe Herbert. It's just a matter of both teams being focused and playing up to their expectations, knowing that they're playing a backup quarterback.
Yeah, and I mean, it's kind of the same thing also for the Niners too, right? But it seems like they are focused this game coming up. Kyle Shanahan, I think Kyle Shanahan has really, I think he has a good command of this team and their mindset, and I really think they're not going to overlook this game. But I do think there's a chance that these other two teams could. If I had to choose one, maybe it would be the Bills.
Really?
Like, I think their defense is going to be awesome, but I think the Bengals are out for vengeance because they were given the shorter hand in this. The
coin flip.
The coin flip, and it seems like Joe Mixon really took it to heart. And I'm going to look this up right now.
He got fined for his celebration. I thought it was a fantastic celebration.
Yeah, it was awesome. I got to look this up here. Where are okay, never mind. The Dolphins are a pretty good run defense. I was going to say, like, I think Joe Mixon is going to go out there and wants to have like a Raheem Mostert versus the Packers type of game.
What did you see? The Ravens run defense, though.
Oh, excuse me. The Ravens run defense. My bad. Why did I think Miami's run defense? Jeez, I'm tired. Hang on. Where are we at? I think the Ravens is pretty good. Oh, no. The Ravens have given up the second most yards per game to rushing.
On the ground?
160 yards per game.
That's surprising. Really?
Yeah, and they've only given up 14 touchdowns, so that's interesting. They give up a lot of yards, but they don't give up many touchdowns in terms of rushing.
The top run defenses, if I'm not mistaken, are Titans, Niners, and
As far as yards per game, right now we're looking at.
I say it's Titans 1.
Wait, no, hang on, my bad. Whoops, sorry. Scratch everything I just said.
It's reversed, right?
Scratch everything I just said. I was
the
looking
Ravens
at the
are really good against the run.
I was looking at the offenses. The Ravens are giving up an average of 92 yards per game. Yeah, so it's the Titans, the Niners. Yeah, when I looked at that, I was like, the Niners are right up there. So this list that I'm looking at is not correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Dolphins are there too. Wow, it's just a lot of these teams really, man.
Yeah,
there's a correlation there for sure. You got the Niners, the Ravens, the Dolphins, the Bills, the Bengals, the Chiefs, and then the Jags, and it looks like they all make up the
You know
top
why?
12.
Because they're good teams, and usually teams have deficits against them, so they're not really running the ball; they're throwing against them.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Even
Texans, Bears, Seahawks have all given up the Seahawks are right there. So, whew.
Yeah,
could be brutal today.
Yeah, who's their middle linebacker? Like Cody Barton or whatever.
Yeah, Cody Barton.
Yeah, that guy's not really good off the blocks. The rain could benefit the Niners greatly by just running it right up the Seahawks' ass,
and
as they did in the past.
This is where I kind of differ when people talk about like the Raiders defense being like one of the worst in the NFL this year. It's like I don't know if that's entirely true. Like they were bad, but I don't know. Like they're kind of right in the middle to me.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bad defenses in the NFL.
No, that's true. Giants and Vikings, I think the key factor here is will the Vikings having all these I know a lot of people are shitting on the Vikings. There's like one of the worst playoff teams of all time. It's just simply because their point differential is in the negatives, and it's probably the worst of any playoff team in the history of the NFL. But they played a lot of close games, and they came back in that Colts game. They came back in that Buffalo game. I just wonder if all of those close games are going to benefit the Vikings as being kind of playoff ready.
I think they would. I mean, like they've played that one against the Bills, right? That was one of the greatest games that we've seen this entire season.
Maybe the best.
And I'm kind of in the camp of, look, man, going into the postseason, I kind of look at the Giants the same way that I look at the Seahawks. They're a good team, but they kind of, they got off to a hot start, but then they cooled off toward the back half of the season. Let me just read you here the last, I think, like 7 weeks. All right.
Read it to me, Steven.
Okay. Lost to the Eagles in week 18. This is the Giants.
Yeah.
They got a win over the Colts.
Win.
Lost to the Vikings.
Loss.
There you go. W over the Washington Commanders. Okay.
Dub.
So 2-2 in their last 2. But then it's lost to the Eagles again, tied with the Commanders, lost to the Cowboys, lost to the Lions. You beat the Texans, lose to the Seahawks. You beat the Jags. Okay, that's when I'm back at the thing. But anyway, they have not been playing as hot at football as they were in the beginning of the year, where they were.
That was backwards, right?
Huh? Yeah.
You okay? All right.
Yeah. So we're talking here a tie since week 11. We'll just go with week 11 here. We're looking at 2, 3, 1 and 3, 1 and 4, 2 and 4, 3 and 5 and 1 in the last 9 weeks.
Yeah,
they're just not playing that great of football. And those 3 wins are against the Texans, the Commanders, and the tie, whatever. Anyway, I totally forgot already. And then on the opposite side of it, you got Justin Jefferson, who torched the Giants in their last matchup. And I think that he's going to be on another mission. I think this dude is he absolutely wants to turn himself into the number 1 superstar wide receiver. And I think that he's going to have a point to prove. I don't think the Giants have any chance in this game. I just don't.
Wow. Okay. All right. Well,
yeah.
I think we know where Steven's leaning for his wins or wangs later.
You wonder why, or wonder where I'm going, huh?
By the way, you won last week 18. I'll come up with some. I guess I do have boxes.
Don't do that.
No,
you don't need to put that on. We'll figure out like a punishment at the end of the season.
Yeah. We'll figure something out. I mean, like I don't mind eating something next Wednesday or something. But
eating something, boy. Tune into that.
That's been the thing, is the wings.
Yeah, I know. But like, it turns out that for you, there's
it's
no
terrible
wing.
for me.
Well, for you, there's no wing that is too hot.
No, but it's not
In the end, it's just
not
watching.
so much the effect on screen, Steven. It's what you don't see behind the scenes of why it's a punishment for me.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about my New Year's resolution is I don't want to spend as much time on the toilet.
Everything is on screen. In the end, we're just watching you eat wings and enjoying yourself by the looks of it.
I understand that, but then the punishment goes into effect the next day.
We forgot to do the Will Levis challenge, the coffee and mayo.
You mean the Raiders' next quarterback?
I don't know about that.
All right, we'll see about that one.
I think the
last one.
I think the guy from Northwestern, that tackle is going to fall to him at 6. I don't even know his name, but he's like the only tackle that's even touted to be in like the top 10.
Aren't the Raiders 7?
6, I think.
They're 6? Okay.
I'm looking at 10. Oh, never mind. They are 7. You're right.
Last one. Cowboys and the Bucks Monday night. The kick factor in this one is just going to be simply, will Tom Brady be Tom Brady or will the Cowboys be the Cowboys of old? Basically, is Tom Brady going to be playoff Tom Brady of years past, and are the Cowboys going to choke like they always do in the playoffs?
Dude, I don't know. Like this is the toughest one. Excuse me. When I was thinking about this one, this is the one I had the tough time kind of analyzing because immediately my gut says Dallas. Of course, Dallas. Like
more talent, yeah.
Tampa Bay, NFC South. Like, come on, Dallas. It's always Dallas. But I feel like Dallas can easily have one of those games where they just get rattled. And
it already happened last week.
And it's like, I don't know. I mean, the key is obviously going to be what Micah Parsons does in the pass rush and how they get to Brady. And because Brady's had some time in the pocket these past couple of games whenever, he went off with Mike Evans. But I think the Cowboys should win this game. And running the football is very important when it comes to the postseason. And the Buccaneers don't really have the ability to do that. It's all in the hands of Tom Brady. But that's the thing. If you put it all in the hands of Tom Brady, it's not the worst option in the world. So I really have a tough time with this one. I go back and forth. I really don't know who to pick.
Yeah, I mean, it simply could just be like everyone's downing Tom Brady again, and as he normally does, he'll prove everybody wrong. And it is a home playoff game. These two teams played in week 1. It was a lot different, but the Bucs defense shut him down. It's a different Cowboys team right now. Dak Prescott, for the amount of shit that Derek Carr got for leading the league in interceptions, I mean, Dak Prescott has played in 4 less games, and he threw 15 this year. So he's got a lot of work to do. I think that the Cowboys defense is really good. I think the Bucs offense is not so good, but things shift in the playoffs. So we shall see. So let's pick these games now, Steven.
Hang on.
Okay,
actually,
fine.
This just came up a minute ago, and I also want to kind of tinker with the games and kind of make
Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, huh?
Making the yes, sure. But look at this. This is interesting. I don't know if this is true, but Ian Rappaport, I haven't heard this, but yeah, and Bay Area Baller just commented on it. This is interesting. What is this?
Rich, no doubt, unbelievable situation this year. 3rd quarterback coming in, starting, leading him to the playoffs. It is all good, but it is something they got to figure out this offseason. So let's take a look at some of the 49ers options moving forward. One of those options, pretty strong one, I would say, is just have Brock Purdy as your starting quarterback next year. Literally do nothing. Let Jimmy Garoppolo go to free agency, which I would say is probably more likely anyway. Just roll with Brock Purdy, have Trey Lance stay there. He's not going anywhere. And then those two compete in training camp. That is one option. Another option is door number 2, which would be potentially Tom Brady. And of course, Brady is with the Bucs now, is a free agent after this year, still hasn't decided if he is going to play. I'd say there's at least a decent chance of that. We know he has an affinity for his former hometown. We know he has an affinity for the 49ers. He took so much time to take stock of things when he was there earlier this year. At least that is an option for the Niners. It's going to be fascinating to see, Rich, what they end up doing after this playoffs.
So, why would they do that? Trey Lance had a second surgery. Why would he do that? I don't know. I'm trying to do. Can Rappaport like give some theater to it? You know what I mean? He doesn't have to go, well, it's an option.
That's Adam Schefter you're doing, first of all.
Yeah, I know.
And you really want everyone to be like Windhorse?
I do. That was so good.
Yeah.
Huh. They traded Royce O'Neal. Good player. Why would they do that?
He was also weird when he did that.
Why would they do that?
Huh. Warriors. They win with their checkbook. Now, why would they do that?
I find that strange. Why would they do that? I don't know. Rappaport's kind of stating the obvious. It's like, of course, Tom Brady's he's always an option. He's an option for anybody who's looking for maybe a quarterback next year.
Yeah, but he's just not going to throw that out there for the hell of it. I think,
It
Don
is
Yee is probably telling him that he wants to go to the Niners.
like he did not. There's no like according to my sources or anything like that. That's just throwing something and hoping that it sticks because there's not much to talk about as far as reporting going into this game.
I wouldn't say that. I don't think Rappaport just says things to just say them. Unlike Schefter, I think that Rappaport has a point to why he brings things up. I do believe that Don Yee probably got to him and said this may be an option in the offseason. But I don't think it is going to be one. I think that it's too much of a clusterfuck with all the quarterbacks between Brock Purdy and Trey Lance. I think that Jimmy Garoppolo will walk in the offseason. I think it's going to be the first option, like you said. It's going to be Brock Purdy and Trey Lance going to training camp and those two guys battling it out. And then as far as Tom Brady, I don't think he is going to retire. I do believe Albert Breer, and I read between the lines and everything with Josh McDaniels. I do believe the Raiders are going all in on Tom Brady.
I think it's going to be one of the former Patriots for the Raiders for sure. I don't know if the Niners are going to do it. It's like they rejected him. It wouldn't make any sense because they rejected him in 2020 because of the tape they saw in 2019. And the tape that they had was not very good compared to Jimmy Garoppolo's, like the full season, right?
Yeah.
Full season of tape. Like Jimmy Garoppolo, like if you look at it this year, it's like, are they really going to look at the tape and say, man, Tom Brady, he looks like he has more upside than Brock Purdy right now. Like, I don't know. Like, of course, Tom Brady has the championships and he has the pedigree and he has all that. But as far as like upside and a future quarterback, I don't know. It seems like they have it with Brock Purdy right now.
Yeah, that's what I think. And I think that Brock Purdy maybe just be a better option than Tom Brady at this point. He's cheaper and he does the things that Tom Brady can't do. But then again, it is Tom Brady. Also, let me say this. I don't think Kyle really wants Tom Brady. I have no knowledge of this. I'm just saying this. I think Kyle likes having a quarterback that does what he's told to do. I think he likes having a Brock Purdy that will run the game plan the way that Kyle wants it to be run. And I'm not saying he's a control freak or anything, but then again, all coaches are. But that's his style of quarterback. And I don't think he wants a Tom Brady coming in and telling him, I'm going to run an offense this way, and he loses control of the team. Kyle likes doing things the way he likes to do it. He can say what he wants about, I heard him say recently that Tom Brady's playing great, blah, blah, blah. I don't think he wants Tom Brady. I don't think he regrets passing on Tom Brady back in 2020.
I'm with you. And with Purdy, like the difference is between him and Jimmy is that Purdy can make plays with his legs and kind of extend everything. And Jimmy, like part of the reason why he threw those interceptions, everyone's like wondering why the Jimmy no throws are there, is because it was a throw within the Kyle Shanahan system.
Exactly.
Like Shanahan says, hey, they're putting this coverage out there. This guy's going to be open. So just throw it. He'll be in that spot. Just throw it there and then hope he makes it. I like some of them are on Jimmy, but others I think are on Kyle where it's just like, why would you throw it straight to a defender? Probably because Kyle told you that this receiver was going to be in that specific spot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. And I think we're going to have all offseason to talk about everything going on between the Niners and Raiders as far as the quarterback situations.
God, dude, that training camp discussion is going to be.
Whew. Well, even before training camp, if the Niners now reach the Super Bowl, it is going to be all about Jimmy Garoppolo, Trey Lance, Brock Purdy. Like, I am just waiting for that conversation every day until something's finalized. And then same thing with the Raiders. Until they get someone to replace Derek Carr, or if they, for whatever reason, do not get a deal done before February 15th, which very well could be likely, and they have to cut Derek Carr, that's a topic of conversation we're going to have this whole offseason. So strap in, everybody. Strap in.
Also, like, what is this whole comparing Purdy to Montana thing? Like, why is that a thing?
Because Greg Cosell said so.
Okay.
No, here's the thing.
Because Greg Cosell heard from one former coach, oh, he reminds me of Joe Montana a little bit. Like,
Yes.
am I just looking at that too bluntly? Like, am I looking at that with a face value too much? Because
I think so. I think when anytime someone hears someone compare a Hall of Fame player to someone of recency that has only played a couple of weeks, people go crazy. It's not so much like earlier in the preseason, Tim Ryan compared Drake London to, sorry, not Drake London, Drake Jackson to Bruce Smith, and everybody lost their mind, saying like, "Oh, he's going to be the next Bruce Smith. He's the all-time sack leader." Calm down. He's saying in his body type and in the style of the way he plays. People need to stop freaking out and stop using clickbait as such a thing when someone compares a Hall of Fame player to a player of today. It's in the style of play that they have. I see a lot of similarities in the style of play between Brock Purdy and Joe Montana. Is Brock Purdy Joe Montana? God, no. But there is a style of play that is similar. But I'm not saying that Brock Purdy is the next Joe Montana. That's stupid to say.
Just feels like Joe Montana is a little bit of a stretch. Is there no other quarterback in the past
Alex Smith
30 years that that's looked like him? You know what I mean? Like, do we
Alex
have
Smith.
to go Alex Smith?
Yeah.
Oh, we have to go to Alex Smith.
Well, what's wrong with that?
Nothing's wrong with that. It's not really Alex
The
Smith.
style of play, I'm saying.
Yeah, but there's got to be other quarterbacks out there. I don't know. I get it, I guess.
I think people just hear names and they're like, "Oh, what? You're crazy." It's the style of play. That's
Okay.
it.
All right. Well, if he wins the Super Bowl this year, then you know what? Whatever. You know,
I think that's going to be an uphill battle, but we shall see.
make
and it all starts
any
today.
comparisons you can. So I wanted to tinker with this, Derek, as we're going to go to our picks.
Yeah, go for it.
So where is it? Hang on. Where's the music? I need to put the music on. So we have a lot of heavy favorites in this thing. And like three of these games are in double digits. So I want to lump those together. I want to lump those together rather. I want to lump the Bengals and the Ravens. I want to lump Biscuit. I want to lump the Bengals, Ravens, the Dolphins and the Bills, and the Niners and the Seahawks together because they're such heavy favorites. And I want to ask you this. Instead of like picking the game, I want to ask you because I found this interesting stat here in terms of betting. Okay.
All right.
In the past 62 NFL wildcard playoff games, 62. That's a pretty big sample size.
Yeah.
The outright winner is 54-7-1 against the spread. That means 88% of the teams who have covered the spread. So let's just say you're taking the Niners and the Seahawks right now. Let's just say you pick, like, if the Niners cover that 9.5, that means they outright win. If the underdog covers the spread, that means they may outright win. So my question here is, do you take any of these underdogs to possibly win this game or even cover? Or is this just going to be a clean slate, lay the points with everybody?
For the Seattle Seahawks and 49ers, it's a 9-point spread. I'm going to say that, no, the Niners cover that.
Okay.
For the Dolphins and Bills, 13.5. With Skylar Thompson, no, I don't see it. Bengals and Ravens, however, I do. With 8.5, I'll take that. I do think the Ravens cover that.
Interesting. But you don't have any of those teams winning?
No, I don't.
Okay. All right. I personally think I don't think any of these underdogs are going to win. I don't think any of these underdogs are going to cover.
So
I
you're
think
gonna lay the points with all three of them.
I think Super Wildcard Weekend is just going to be an absolute super blowout with a lot of these teams.
Not super at all.
Not that super. No, it's
man.
just Wildcard Weekend.
That's lame. Well, let me read you Alon's picks before we get to all this stuff.
Oh, okay.
I asked him his picks before or during the podcast last week. He's taking the Niners to win, but he thinks the Seahawks are going to cover. He's going to take the over. I don't see a lot of overs this weekend. I'll get to that a little bit. He's taking the Jags to beat the Chargers and the under. He's taking the Bills and the points and the over. He's taking the Vikings the points and the under. He's taking the Bengals and the Ravens to cover, but the under. And he's taking the Bucks to win, but the over to happen. So I'm with you, Steven. I like lumping all those games together, and I think that they're very similar as far as heavy favorites to, bad playoff teams, to be completely honest. The Ravens are a good playoff team if they had Lamar Jackson ready to go. Dolphins, they were on a 5-game losing streak, and Skylar Thompson's going to be their quarterback tomorrow. Ugh. And the Seahawks kind of backed in because of the Packers losing. But anything can happen on Super Wildcard weekend. So I already kind of gave you my deal, but I'll go with you. Seattle at San Francisco, 9-point favorites. You like the Niners to win and to lay the points, but do you like the under or over of 42 points?
I like the under on that one.
I'm going to do the same thing as well. I just don't see in the rain both teams scoring that amount of points. Chargers at Jacksonville. The Chargers are 1.5-point favorites. The line, I don't think, moved at all from what I saw with Joe Fortenbaugh after the Mike Williams news. And the over-under is 47.
Yeah, personally, I think Jacksonville is going to win this one outright. So I think they're going to pull off the upset here, and I'm going to take the over in this game. That'd be foolish to take the under.
Well, I like the Chargers defense. Getting Joey Bosa back. They're getting Rashawn Slater back as well, I believe, today. It may be a week too early for that, but it sounds like he's in the window of returning. And to be completely honest, I didn't think Trevor Lawrence played a great game last week. I thought that they got by in that game just because of the forced fumble from Rashad Jenkins and
Derek.
Josh Allen. What?
Oh, Derek, you're leaning towards the under here. You are making a huge mistake.
Just listen to me.
I'm hearing all these reasons, but ooh.
And usually, Justin Herbert doesn't play with Mike Williams, so he'll be fine today with Keenan Allen, DeAndre Carter, and Josh Palmer.
Yeah.
And I don't see a lot of offense from the Jaguars. So yes, Steven, against my better judgment, I'm going to take the Chargers to win. I'm going to lay the points, but that 47 seems a little high to me. So I'm going to go under.
God, Derek, you really need to recalibrate your betting.
Well, I will be honest with how many of these picks we've done this season. I usually live or die with how many unders I take.
You take a lot of unders, man. Like life's too short to bet the under, bro.
Yeah, but I mean,
like,
I just don't see Jacksonville scoring that much points.
Like Derek, you said this is going to be a quarterback. You said this game's going to be on the quarterback, so then all of a sudden you're taking the under. Oh,
because I'm saying that Justin Herbert's going to have a better game than Trevor Lawrence. I can see the Jaguars just scoring 1 touchdown today.
Wow.
We'll circle back. Either I look like an idiot or I look like a genius. I'm sticking with the under, though.
Okay.
All right.
Or or I might come off with a huge thing. Oh, I might come off looking like a huge douche. But what did you hear what Bosa's mom said? The Bosa family called sacks.
No,
dude.
Oh, Sackaroonies?
No, this is so on brand for like a guy like Joey and a guy like Nick, and for their family, who just seem very chill. But
couldn't agree more.
They call sacks. Well, number one, apparently, like the reason that Bosa flexed during the Arizona game, if you go back when he sacked Colt McCoy at the end of the half, the reason that he flexed was because it was a gender reveal. He was either going to skip as the celebration or he was going to flex as the celebration.
For his baby?
His best friends. He was the only one who knew his best friend's baby's gender. And based on the sack, everybody's watching. So he was either going to skip if it was a girl or he was going to flex if it was a boy, and he flexed.
What if he didn't get a sack?
Huh?
What if he didn't get a sack?
That's the thing, though, right?
That's a risk we were willing to take.
That's a risk. And you know what, man? You got the defensive player of the year as your best friend, and you're going up against the Cardinals, who Bosa tends to destroy. Yeah, I think, yeah. But the other thing is, the Bosa family, apparently, they call sacks squishies. Like from Finding Nemo. And
or what you get at 7-Eleven.
Yeah. Not a Slurpee?
Squishies, Simpsons, whatever.
Okay. Whatever. You're ruining it, Derek. But no, like they call it squishies though.
I can argue you're ruining this. We're trying to pick games here. You're talking about some damn story.
Because of the Finding Nemo. Isn't that hilarious?
I guess so, Steve.
It's just such a Bosa thing. It's like these guys are like so menacing and and they destroy offensive linemen when they're on the field and healthy. At least Joey when he's on the field and healthy. And apparently,
I thought it was Saccarooni's though. That's what he said in the mic'd up thing.
Apparently, in the group chat, in the family group chat, they send squids whenever there's a sack, like the squid emojis.
It's adorable,
isn't it? And Aram, you're damn right. It's a cute story. Thank you for giving me the advice on making a margarita on New Year's Eve. I needed it.
Aram knows how to make a mean margarita.
It was a little It was a little late, actually. I think I mentioned it on our show. And then he said, well, this is how you got to do it. And it turns out that there's like 3 ingredients that you got to go with. And the one that was kind of crucial to the margarita mix, I did not have. I used another one instead.
You got to have margarita mix.
Yeah. Well, Aram's like, because I use fresh limes, I used triple sec, and I also use tequila. And he's like, no, not triple sec. You got to go with agave syrup. So agave syrup coming up next.
There you go. And there you go, agave syrup.
What?
Good to know.
This is the podcast, Bay Area baller. Welcome, my man.
All right. From margarita talk to Miami and the Bills. The Bills are favored by 13.5, and the over-under is 43.5. Steven, you're taking the Bills and you're laying the points, as am I.
Mm-hmm.
But are you liking that under?
No, I'm not. I'm not liking that under.
You're going over?
Well, yeah, because it's such a large point spread that I'm going to have the Bills, scoring a lot. And really, it's only going to take like 10, 15 points for the Dolphins to actually hit that over. So, yeah, I'm going to take that.
Here's the thing, and I know I'm going crazy with these unders, but 43, that requires a lot of offense from the Dolphins, and I just don't see it with Skylar Thompson. They scored 11 points against the Jets last week. They're going to Buffalo in possibly the wind and the rain and the snow, whatever elements they're dealing with. Probably none of those things, but it's going to be chilly in Buffalo. They don't have Raheem Mostert. Jeff Wilson Jr. is a fine running back, but he's got to do it all by himself. And they got, I forget his name, Ahmed is the backup running back. But just Skylar Thompson. I don't see a lot of offense. And also the Dolphins have a pretty good defense, so they're going to have to, stop the Bills from scoring. But the Bills are going to score. I don't know if they're going to score 43 points for it, though. So I am going to take the Bills. I'm going to lay the points. But I'm going under as well, and I know that's crazy, but I'm going to do it.
That's not really too crazy. It's more crazy going over on that one.
All right. Giants at the Vikings. You think that there's no chance for the Giants to win, and the Vikings are favored by 3, and the over/under is 48. So, Steven, I'm assuming you're going to take the Vikings, or you're laying the points as well?
I'm going to lay the points with the Vikings, and I'm actually going to take the under in this one.
Ooh, okay, interesting. I've struggled with this one big time because it was a close game the last time these two teams played. I'm with you, Steven. I don't think that the Giants have a lot of offense. The receivers right now are Hodges and Darius Slayton.
Good luck.
And Saquon Barkley is running pretty well. Here's the thing, though. The Giants have a really good defense.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to help you in the postseason more than... I mean, a good offense will obviously help you as well, but I just think that Brian Dable is going to scheme it up pretty well. And against my better judgment, this is the one I'm not really confident in, but I'm going to go with it just because I feel it. I'm taking the Giants to win, and I'm going to go over.
All right. Interesting.
So there you go.
And just a quick side note, I know you don't really like his energy too much in the morning, but Kyle Brandt on Good Morning Football.
That's fine. He's good on television.
He's kind of like the Kirk Cousins #1 fan almost. And like every single week, he doesn't understand why people go crazy over Kirk Cousins and all this sort of stuff. But they're talking to KJ Osborne. And then he sets up this question. It's like 45 seconds about Kirk Cousins and why people hate on him and how, he's really a good quarterback and everything. And then when KJ Osborne had to answer the question, like, what do you have to say to those people who think Kirk Cousins stinks? KJ Osborne's computer totally froze as soon as he was about to answer. And he's like, the FCC does not want this to happen. It's a conspiracy. We are not allowed to say anything good about Kirk Cousins. It's kind of funny.
No, I think that's good television. And also, Kyle Brandt's a fan of every team in the NFL, but he seems to ride or die with the Bills and Vikings.
Mhm.
And also, he's a Bears fan, I want to say.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't think the Giants are going to do much today. I don't think they've been very good these last.
Well,
few
they won't do
games.
anything today because they're not playing.
Oh, that's right. Tomorrow. Damn it! I always
It's
forget.
Super Wildcard Weekend, Steven. We got 3 days of this shit.
Oh God.
You sound excited. Then later tomorrow night, you got the Baltimore Ravens at the Cincinnati Bengals. I already said this one. You think that the Cincinnati Bengals are going to win, Steven. You're laying the points. Are you going over on the 40.5?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's a low number. I mean, what did it look like last week? What was their score last week? I totally
Well,
forgot.
they play their backups. Oh, sorry. The Bengals and the Ravens?
Yeah.
27-16?
Yeah. 40 is the right number, isn't it? That's a tough one.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go over because I'm too scared to bet the under, so I'm going to go over. Always
I already told you.
take the over.
I already told you that I thought that the Bengals were going to win, but the Ravens cover. So I think it's going to be a close game, but a very low-scoring game, 40.5. You know what? Just to be safe, I'm going to go over on that one.
Yep.
And then finally, Monday night,
Boy.
Dallas Cowboys at Tampa Bay. The Cowboys are 2.5-point favorites, and the over/under is at 45.5.
You could pick it. You could pick this one. I want to see what you got.
Dallas has the better team, I think. They got the better defense. But as far as the quarterbacks, I've seen Dak in the postseason. Struggled against the Niners last year. If this game was in Dallas, I think it's a different story. I think just the mind games of Tom Brady against the history of the Dallas Cowboys. He's never lost to the Cowboys ever. And I think just Tom against the Cowboys. I think Tom will be Tom and the Cowboys will be the Cowboys once again. So I'm going to take the Buccaneers to win.
Wow.
And that 45.5 is too much for me. I'm going to go under.
Yeah, I was actually looking up the points there. That's really why I asked you to do it, so I could look up the points per game for each team. I think that 45 is way too much, so I'm going to go under on that. Gosh. You know, we haven't really...
It's also like it's setting up to be this way where like Tom Brady does it again. Cowboys do it again, and the whole week Stephen A. Smith. I told you.
Yeah. Or the Cowboys get over the hump.
Very well could happen, and then either way, it's a whole week of Tom Brady does it again or Tom Brady season's over. Is he done? Is the goat out to pasture?
Cowboys playing on the road. I'm having way too much trouble here picking these games. I should really go quicker. I apologize to everyone. Okay, one more.
Apologize
quick
to
thing.
Ernie and Bay Area Baller 18.
I am sorry, Bay Area Baller 18. I am sorry, Ernie. Like, what the
Don't
hell?
apologize to Aram.
These teams are like, yeah, Aram, whatever. You got here late. But I'll take the screw it. Lay the points with the Cowboys. Cowboys do it today.
All right. It's Monday,
I'm not
Steve.
confident in that one at all.
I'm not confident in my Giants pick either. So
Did we pick the Niners and the Seahawks?
we did.
We did?
Yep, we did.
Okay, good.
You're taking the points and the under.
Good.
And that's it.
Good.
All right, everybody. We got playoff games today.
Yeah, man.
Everybody going out to the game today. This is another question for you, Steven, before we get out of here. Do you think that the Niner crowd is going to be big today, considering the weather?
Yeah, of course it is.
With a slight hesitation in your voice.
Well, the only slight hesitation is my brother was actually looking at tickets because he was supposed to go to Tahoe this weekend, didn't end up working out. So, yeah, he asked me like, dude, do you want to go to the Niner game? I'm looking online. Tickets are pretty cheap compared to even the regular season. And I was like, really? So I do think they're going to fill up the stands, but they did so by making their tickets cheaper.
Yeah.
I don't know. The Niner fan base, dude, they always show out. They really do. So
They do. It's a playoff game, but this is not the same as back in when I envisioned of the 90s and the early 2000s, or not the early 2000s. They weren't good back then, but the kind of were. But it's not like Candlestick crowd where they'll show up in the rain and the ponchos and everything. So not that it's going to dictate the outcome of the game today. I just don't know if it's going to be a big show out because of the storm, and it is the Bay Area, and It's not like Buffalo or Cincinnati or Kansas City where it doesn't matter what the weather is. People are going to show up and get sick. It's, we want to stay inside and get cozy.
What I know is my boy Nick is going to be in the corner of that stadium. I forgot where it is. I forgot which section, but he's going to be in the corner. He's going to be banging the cowbell, probably frustrating some people. One time he was asked to stop, and it's like, dude, this is his job. Don't you dare tell him to stop. But he's going to have that fan base going. So I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt because my man is the manager of their fan engagement. So yes.
So he does like the Bruce Dickinson thing where he plays the cowbell?
Well, he doesn't play the cowbell. He more just uses it as a way to get the crowd going,
Well, that'd be playing the cowbell, wouldn't it?
I mean, like,
Yeah, it's playing the cowbell.
yeah, but Bruce Dickinson is, I guess, Bruce Dickinson, the Bruce Dickinson, and
Well,
also,
Bruce Dickinson wasn't playing the cowbell, but he was.
also, I know that
he's
when
making gold. He's making gold records since
put my pants on one leg at a time.
When I make gold records.
I make gold records. Yeah. But no, I think the
Cock of the walk, baby.
I think cock of the walk. Man. Wow, need more cowbell. But yeah, I think Niner fans are going to show out today, especially since it's against the Seahawks too.
True. All right, everyone. If you do go to the game, stay dry. If you can, you probably won't. You'll probably be wet, but drive safe because it's going to be slick conditions out there.
Yeah.
And Steven, I'll see you in a little bit. I'm heading over to the old San Jose to hang out with you and some friends. And we'll be at Rookies.
Just telling everyone where we're going, huh?
Come see us. All our crazy fans.
Come on by and see us.
Come by and see us. Say hi to us in the tent.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. We'll see you next time. Enjoy the Super Wildcard weekend. Steven, say what you always say.
Look, Pirates of the Caribbean and The Curse of the Black Pearl, one of the greatest movies of all time. It's just our opinion, man. I'm ending this right now.